Hi again, it's Hannah here, also known as Singing Hin. Last week we were talking about speech and we're going to continue that theme as this month is all about World Speech Day on the 15th. So this week we're going to be looking at voiced consonants. Last week we had a very brief tour around vowel sounds and that there's so many more vowel sounds than there are vowel letters in written English. And this month it really is about trying to put aside written English language and starting to hear sounds as a totally different thing, because that's how you can make your speech and your singing better and more clear. So, consonants, well, hopefully we all know what they are. They're the ones that aren't vowels, and that's as far as I'm going in this video. Voiced consonants though, what are they? Kind of do what they say on the tin, like everything else. They are voiced. What do I mean by that? If you get your hand flat and put that against your Adam's apple area, gently pressing just enough so you can feel it, this is nothing more than that, and say the sound G for girl. G, G. Can you feel a movement and also a vibration on that? G, G. If really need be, you can finish the word girl, but preferably we're looking for that first bit of vibration before you get onto the earl part. G. Okay, so now let's try the word curl with a K sound. Do that again then and feel curl, curl. Notice how there is no vibration at the beginning of that word on that K sound. All you're picking up in terms of vibration is earl, curl, girl, curl, girl. So notice how there's a vibration on G and there's no vibration on K. What's happening? The vibration is essentially your larynx creating the vibration that makes a sound wave. And voiced consonants always have that vibration of a sound wave at the beginning or during that sound. And that is what distinguishes them against unvoiced consonants, which are those consonants where you don't create a sound from your larynx. The sound that you're hearing is basically the friction of airflow through. So if you think of an H, hotel, or better still, one of my favourite words, Hannah. If you put your hand over here, Hannah, I'm not feeling any vibration until I get to the ah. Hannah. But there's obviously a sound, and that sound you're first hearing is that friction of air through, not the vibration here. And that's an interesting and important point we're going to look at next week. So then, voiced consonants are those consonants where we make a sound, a vibrational sound, which is coming from the larynx at the same time as creating a movement or a sound from the mouth. So girl is coming from the back of your mouth, G. If you think about what your tongue's doing, G. But you're also then vibrating here to make it voiced. Girl, dog, vase. All of those have that vibration. Now again, this is really important when we're speaking, because we need to give cues to those people who are listening for them to be sure and be clear of what we're saying. So knowing the difference between a voiced consonant and an unvoiced consonant is going to really help in the clarity of what you're saying, and it's going to make it much easier for the listener to interpret super quickly what you're saying. Most of us have learnt at some point a second language, even if it was only at school for a year or two. And if you can think back to that time when you had it's probably gone for many of us now, but if you remember back then that when somebody said something to you in that second language, it took you a lot longer to recognise what the word was after they'd spoken it and go, what's that word? Oh yes, that's that word, right, okay, so what does that word mean again? Oh, that's what it means. And that's what we're doing all the time. But when we're speaking to each other in the same language, especially if it's somebody else's mother tongue or they are fluent in that language, the processing time it takes is absolutely milliseconds. So it's not noticeable. It is fluency. On second languages, it isn't. Now, if you're presenting a huge amount of information at one time, a bit like this, you're really wanting to be clear so that people can understand as soon as possible what you're saying, the words you are saying, so that they can understand the meaning behind it and the message you are trying to give them very, very quickly. And that's what all this is about. So next week, we're going to start looking at unvoiced consonants and looking at the way they twin with voiced consonants to get you even more of an idea of what's going on with this language and with sounds. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you next week.